In many holocrons on this channel, we have often documented some of the most unique Jedi and Sith that the Order has to offer. Those that break the status quo are often the ones that push the boundaries on what is possible in the Force. Today's entry is no different, or perhaps we should say, she is entirely different. There existed a mysterious dark Jedi Master during the era of the Republic Classic, as well as into the Clone Wars, one who went by the iconic name, the Dark Woman. As her title suggests, this Jedi Master was quite the contrarian. But what is fascinating about her is that the High Council actually loved her, and despite her choice of name, she was held in extremely high esteem. She was trusted and believed in, far more than anyone like Qui-Gon Jinn. Having said that, she has apparently had a hand in training some of the most prominent individuals in all of the lore. So who is this Dark Woman? How did someone so unheard of make such a large impact on the Jedi? Well, all this and more will be answered in this holocron. The Dark Woman's name may be off-putting to some, but to the Jedi, she was known as a Master, one that had gained a deeper understanding of the Force, and because of this, had reached a new level of enlightenment that had yet to be achieved by most other Jedi. The Master was once known as Anya Kuro before she decided to literally give up her name in the service of the Force. Anya was zealously devoted to the Force and to the Jedi ideals, so much that she scorned all kind of attachment regardless of what it was. She believed so staunchly in the Jedi Code that Anya believed that having one's own identity was too much of an attachment. So in her devotion, Anya Kuro shed her name and took on the moniker of the Dark Woman, a way of humbling herself before the Force. The Dark Woman sounds like a name that would be given to a Dark Lady of the Sith. However, Anya couldn't be farther from it. The title of Dark Woman was not meant to inspire fear or reverence, but it was indeed a humbling name for that reason. One that Anya acknowledged she did indeed have an inner darkness within her, one that she desired to conquer. This is why Anya Kuro wielded an amethyst blade. Her ideology concerning darkness was that of Mace Windu, as in her own words, "We all have a darkness within us. It is what makes us living beings, bound by the Force. But we can brush that darkness away. It is within us always. We can only learn to control it, like a dangerous beast that must be kept upon a chain. I know of this darkness. I have seen those who become lost to it." Acknowledging but not embracing the darkness within her is what kept her rooted as a Jedi. She took on the name the Dark Woman as a way to publicly announce that she was indeed flawed, and that she worked every day to ensure that she never went to a dark place because of her flaws, only serving the will of the Force. Despite this though, she had a pretty fiery disposition, and frequently liked to test her fellow Jedi, especially young Padawans. She was considered the toughest teacher of the Jedi, and would often attempt to goad Padawans into anger, testing their resolve in the light side. Her training methods were notoriously brutal, and she was known for being so intense in her training that some even claimed it was downright disturbing. She would often bring her Padawans to the very edge of the breaking point so that they could become stronger, relying on only the Force. Almost every student Anya Kuro had, though, became intensely disciplined as a Jedi, rooted in the light. However, this pattern of conduct turned out to be something that was praised by the High Council surprisingly, and they used her as the master of whom problem Padawans were often sent. Those young Jedi who were willful, angry, and rebellious would find themselves under the Dark Woman's tutelage for some real, brutal reality checks. Anakin thought Obi-Wan was tough on him, and Kenobi had nothing on the Dark Woman. Anya was cited with many impactful feats within the Jedi, as she was one who actually discovered the young Ki-Adi-Mundi on Syria. It was Anya Kuro's training that led Mundi to becoming fiercely legalistic and following the Jedi Code to a T. Anya was also responsible for the training of A'Sharad Het, the man who would one day become the Dark Lord Darth Krayt. In fact, that quote from earlier that showcased her views on the darkness was spoken by her directly to A'Sharad Het. It was Anya Kuro who helped Het control his own inner darkness for the longest time, and it was in part because of her training that Darth Krayt would master his darkness completely, becoming one of the most powerful Dark Lords that have ever existed. A complete mastery of the dark side. But Anya Kuro's real claim to fame, or rather her infamy, was the training of Aurra Sing. Having found Aurra in the slums of Nar Shaddaa as a toddler, Anya brought her back to the temple to be trained as a Jedi, sensing that she had some aptitude in the Force. Aurra Sing grew up in the Jedi Temple as an angry and unruly Padawan, one so aggressive that she was feared by all of her peers. The High Council would naturally send Singh to Kuro's training. However, despite everything that Anya attempted to do, no matter how hard she pushed her during her brutal training sessions, Aura didn't seem to improve at all. At some point when Singh was a young girl, she would be kidnapped by pirates while she and Kuro were in the midst of a mission. The pirates convinced Aura Singh that Kuro had sold her into slavery, and the young girl believed the lie. From that day on, the dangerous bounty hunter Aura Singh was born, and she forever held a grudge against the Jedi Order. The Dark Woman, though, never knew what happened to Aura Singh, and believed that Aura Singh had ran away in an attempt to evade the brutal training. At first, Anya Kuro was not troubled at all with the disappearance of Aura Singh, believing it to be the will of the Force, foregoing the attachment entirely. That was until Aura Singh arrived as a ravenous, bloodthirsty killer. Devastated at the loss of Aura Singh's innocence, Anya Kuro went into a self-imposed exile on the planet known as Kofgren 5. It was there where she spent many years meditating and reflecting on her choices both towards the Force, her training methods, and re-evaluating the very dark side itself and what it meant to be a Jedi. Suddenly, she felt a great relation and a sorrow for those that embraced the dark side, no longer a staunch hatred against it, achieving an understanding that few Jedi ever would. Upon this revelation though, and returning to the Jedi Order once more, the Clone Wars would erupt. Sensing that the Force needed her again, Anya Kuro would join the war, and would take part in the Battle of Geonosis, having responded to Mace Windu's call for an assembly of all Jedi that they could muster. After this, we don't know much of what Anya Kuro did during the war, as most of her missions were classified, especially since she operated as a spy for the Republic, putting all of her use of the abilities of stealth in the Force to good practice. And speaking of Force abilities, we must establish something very important about Anya Kuro. She was extremely powerful in the Force because of how she approached it. The Dark Woman reaped several benefits, such as the fact that she could access powers in the Force that were particularly rare for Jedi or even Sith to know. This made her very valuable as a Jedi and extremely dangerous for those that opposed her. Anya Kuro had mastered Force Heal, as well as Alter Environment, which was a Force ability that focused on one's power to connect with and control plant life, a discipline that is studied extensively in not only tight circles within the Jedi Order, but her really strange abilities came in the form of her being able to bend the light around her very body, effectively using the Force to render herself completely invisible. This was far from the last odd power that Anya Kuro possessed though, as it was said that she had the very rare power of teleportation. And Anya was even able to make her body become intangible enough to walk straight through solid walls. Being able to use the Force to alter one's physical body ranks among the rarest and most advanced Force abilities in all of the lore. It is very important to note that Anya Kuro did not use the dark side, and like Mace Windu, she in fact hated it. But these powers that she gained from a devotion for her ideals in the light, and as a result of her willingness to delve deeper into the Force than most Jedi are willing to go, made her one of the most powerful Jedi of an entire generation. At her very peak, she was very much among members of the Council like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Windu, Shaak Ti, and Plo Koon. So much so that during Order 66, she nearly killed Darth Vader. The end of the Dark Woman's life would come sometime after Order 66, deep into the Jedi Purge. Once the clones turned on the Jedi, Anya managed to escape to Kofgren 5, where she lived for a couple more years in safety, in isolation, before eventually being located directly by Vader, with Vader deeming her a particularly difficult challenge and wanting to prove himself. In fact, at the time, Anya Kuro was one of the most powerful Jedi that had yet to be executed by the Purge. When Vader arrived, the Dark Woman had accepted her fate, but went down putting up a mighty fight, making her last words stand to be a worthy one. She was unfortunately no match for the power or the craftiness of Vader, although he would be pushed to his limits. Following a lengthy duel, Vader would land a killing blow. Once she had been killed, however, she appeared to Vader as a Force ghost immediately, telling him that there was still a chance for him to return and to become Anakin Skywalker yet again. In a fury, Vader tried to slice her incorporeal form, and she simply disappeared, becoming one with the Force, in a show of mockery that Vader would not feel again until Obi-Wan Kenobi on the Death Star. Anya Kuro the Dark Woman was no ordinary Jedi, That much is certain. The implications of her teachings are definitely worth looking into, as her unique way of looking at the Force definitely produced results. She was stronger, wiser, and more powerful than almost all of her contemporaries. Not because of natural skill, but again because of how she applied her training and approached the Force. Anya Kuro had access to mind-blowing feats that others could only dream of. Perhaps her downfall was everything that she shared in common with Mace Windu, which is that though she understood her own darkness, her zealous devotion to the Jedi doctrine caused her to make many mistakes, especially when concerning the feelings and relations with other people. She was extremely powerful, but perhaps blinded by her rigidity. But now, we want to know what you think of Anya Kuro, the Dark Woman, one of the most underrated Jedi in all of the lore. Did you know about her before this video? And if you enjoy these obscure character breakdowns, be sure to subscribe, as we'll be doing our best to bring you so much more. Thank you so much for visiting the channel and the archives today, my friends, and may the Force be with you.